Hey, Patronus Mouth Olympus Reptiles. And so today, basically we just done that video was, well, we fed an assist feed. So let's talk about that. It's a medical procedure in a lot of ways. Um, and so let's talk about that. And what I mean by talk about that, obviously we know what assist feeding is. But the fact that in this hobby world, in a lot of ways, we do our own medical care. And that's hard. If you've never done it's hard. Not something I'd probably go on YouTube and talk about. But what I mean by it's hard is I'm not a veterinarian. Although I will tell you that I do know a lot of veterinarians who would have less experience, less knowledge, and less ability than I do when it comes to the standard care of these guys as far as getting them to do what you want. Now, as far as opening them up and digging around in the guts and doing a surgery, yeah, not this guy, okay? Not my area of expertise. But as far as doing an assist feed or something of that nature, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a veterinarian in my area that's done that more than I have. Now, so when you start talking about minor medical procedures, whether it's that or, we should have taped this girl and we popped the egg, right? You need to get back on food. You're about time. Yes, you are. You need to get back to eating for me. Things like that we've done, which I haven't done that a lot. But I can tell you most vets haven't done that a lot or ever.
What was it?
When we popped the egg.
How'd you pop it? What'd you do?
I talked about how we imploded it. We moved it down to the cloaca, about 2 to 3 inches maybe about that far from the cloaca, 1.5 inches. And I felt like if I would have moved it any further, we would have caused a lot of ripping and damage and tearing. And the goal was to implode the egg at that point. I didn't think I could save it. If you can get it started, you can kind of watch Barczyk. He just really kind of rings it out there. But I wasn't worried about saving the egg. I was more than willing to sacrifice that egg for the good of the mother. And so then we just took a long, in this case, it's a needle used for basting, like injecting a chicken for flavor, And I ran it in the cloaca so as not to have to penetrate through her. Because the needle was a big gauge and was a heavier gauge and I wanted to stick into her. I mean, it was going to be rough doing that. And got it up against the egg and then made sure I was against the egg so I could push the needle or let the egg go back. I could move the egg through the track like this at that point. So I'd worked it down. That was all stretched and loose just to the end. So I could then move the egg up and the needle would slide up and I could push the egg down and the needle would slide down. So I knew the needle was up against the egg and so then we just went forward and popped it. Then I kept pressure on the egg, squeezing the fluid out and deflating it. And then to try to not have as much stuff in there going bad in her colon, for lack of a better word, it's not really her colon, but the snake butthole, if you will. I used the same needle then and a fresh warm water, and we gave her an enema, multiple enemas, about I think 2 to 3, with a good amount of water to clean that out. And then the next day cleansed it again. And then by then she had that thing closed up tighter in Fort Knox, and I wasn't going to be able to do that as easy, so we let it be. And that's how we performed that. Now, yes, a vet would have probably given her some drugs to try to help induce labor, for lack of a better word, but she'd already gone through labor. She couldn't pass it. I didn't feel that was going to be the best treatment for her. I felt imploding the egg and taking a large mass and making it a very small mass was the most likely way for that snake to survive. And since then she has passed little parts and pieces, and I expect when she gets back on food well, she'll take a big poop and there'll be this crusty, look almost like a dried up urate coming out with it. That'll be the leathery leftover dead eggshell. That's my gut. That's what my gut tells me anyway. If she does that. And she also still may not survive because going through that, there may be some internal damage in there that she's just not going to survive from. But we've had no bleeding. We've had nothing like that that would lead me to think there's a problem. Now, back to what I was talking about, doing your own vet care. And this is why, but that brings up a good point. Whenever you're doing your own vet care, you know, even for a vet, you know, they call it a practice. They don't call it, you know, perfection, right? Doctors have a practice, which is really fucking scary. And I think that's because they're not going to get it right all the time. So they're making their best guess based on their experience and education. And in here, we're going to have to do the same thing. So we're making our best guess based on our experience and education, mostly on our experience. And on something like that, you know, we make a decision and we go for it. And you're kind of trying to play the odds and thinking, this is the best thing I can do. You know, the easiest thing is to always do nothing. That's the easiest thing, right? The second easiest thing is to take it to a vet. And the reason I say that is, then if it doesn't go right, well, whose fault is it? Not yours. You took it to a vet, right? But when you do some of your own care, and in a business setting, you're going to have to do that. If I took every snake that needed a sys-fed to the vet, then there would be nothing left to run the business at times because of what their expense is going to be, what they're going to charge. You know, I mean, then you're taking a snake that's worth $20 and you're taking it to the vet, having it sys-fed 3 times. So now I'm paying for food and probably paying $200, $250 in vet care and then selling the snake for $20. And it doesn't take long to figure out you're not going to have a business doing that, right? So that's why breeders, I think, do that on their own, myself included. However, when you lose something, and we have lost things, we have lost animals we've been working on, and then you start to question. Then you can't be like, well, I did everything I could do. I took it to the professional and nothing can be done. You know, you start to wonder, man, should I have done that differently? You know, did I cause that? Is it something I did? Is it something that I could have done? Did I not act soon enough? Did I jump in too soon? You know, was there something I missed? That begins to be the issue, you know. And I'm really not a big fan of taking these to vets. I have. But, you know, reptiles stress so easy. And if you take a reptile that's not doing well, and you yank it from its environment, and then you take it to some other environment, it's going to, they don't understand that. You know, dogs don't understand it very well, but they bounce better from it than these guys do. So, you know, you just have to kind of play it by ear. Checking on a few of these girls while I'm at it. Oh, I know what I want to check on. She always kills stuff and never eats it. Where did she go? Oh, yeah. So, you know, you're doing your own care. See, you know your own snakes. Oh, that was from last night. Smells like Teen Spirit. You're doing your own care, and it's the best that you can do. Sometimes you're going to second guess yourself. I guess that's what I'm wanting to put through to you today is the dark and the bad side. Let's go feed the fox. This thing smells bad. Come with me, Kurt. We're feeding the fox. The good and the bad of this hobby is such that whenever you have these problems, if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, then, man, you feel responsible. I throw stuff out here when we have a rat that passes, doesn't get eaten. There's this big-ass fox that comes and eats it. So he takes care of all of my stuff. It's kind of cool. Anyway, so be prepared for that, I guess. I didn't really have a plan. I knew what I wanted to talk about, but I didn't really know how to talk about it because it's kind of a hard subject. Oh, you did come eat that. Good Gaboon. You need water too. I'll get you somebody. But you just got to be ready. And it's easier for me to do if I keep working for the sad moments. You know, the happy moments, man, they outweigh the sad moments at least 100 to 1. There has been so many victories we've had, you know, and so many great things we've done. This is one right here. Look at this girl. She's about ready to start breeding again this year. You know, now Now, not all of her babies did great this year. She was a first-year mama. But she's awesome. And this is one of the biggest victories I've had, I think. To make this animal, it surprised me at every turn, and it just looks awesome and great, and it eats great most of the time, and it's just a really cool animal, right? But for every time you have a victory, every now and then, you're going to have a bad day. And you're going to feel like, at least I don't know, whenever I have a bad day and something doesn't go right in here, I feel like I let, one, the animal down. Two, I let you guys down because it's something that most likely is going to go to one of you guys. And I also feel like I let camera guy Kurt down because, we split the work in this business, and the work he does keeps food rolling in. But the work I do, that's what's going to be the monetary. So if I lose something and we're going to lose money for the business and expansion and things like that, I feel like I let him down. And so I feel terrible. And I'll be honest, the further you get into this, the good moments, there's more and more and more of them, but you get more and more used to them. You start to expect them. I expect, the expectations I have now of what I do, the quality at which I want to do it, the pressures I put on myself to be at a certain point, and where I want to be as a breeder. The only thing that's going to be acceptable to me to be as a breeder long term, knowing that there's ups and downs on that climb, that the good days and the really cool things, you're not quite as happy or as excited about them as you once were, because it's almost like a relief. It's a relief because you feel like that's your expectation of yourself, and that's the people around you's expectation of you. And that's not anything that you guys have ever put on me. That's a pressure that I put on myself because it is a way of personal self-motivation. I'm one of those people that in order for me to do really well and be very successful, I always have to kind of feel like, I'm the world's against me and I'm having to prove it wrong. And that I've got this core team, it's us versus everything on the outside. And even if it's not like that, I make it that way in here to drive myself to be the best that I can be. I don't know if that's healthy or not, but that is how I operate. And so then, those successes and those great things become the expectation of myself. I know I can do this. I know this is what I should produce. I know this is what I should be able to make. I should do this. And yeah, we did 95% hatch rate the last couple of years. Not good enough. Let's push to 97, which, by the way, we're not going to do this year. We only had this many babies post that we lost. Let's get that to 0, which obviously we're not going to do this year. Those numbers are probably going to be down, even taking out the kink issues. And even though I have some good ideas as to why and what I can do to make it better, et cetera, it doesn't change the fact that when you have that expectation, then it's no longer this. I still enjoy what I do. I'm not trying to say that. But the victories aren't so much of a woohoo. It's more of a, I did what I was expected to do. And the failures, though, begin to magnify. So anytime something goes wrong, especially like this year with the way it feels like with the kinking issues we had and whatnot, it feels like there is those bad things start to make you feel like you're letting everybody down. Hopefully that makes a little sense. And again, this is why I wouldn't talk about this on YouTube, because I have a love-hate relationship with YouTube, and you guys well know that. And here I will. And I don't know how many people are going to watch this or just kind of peruse through it. And we'll probably kind of discuss this in a live sometime as well, just to get some feedback on it. And I'm curious what you guys use for your own self-motivations. And I don't know, maybe I'm just an unhealthy, crazy, psychopathic son of a bitch, and I should find a better way to motivate myself. But I don't think I can. I think it's how I'm wired. So, Kurt, what do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know? You got to know something, man. You got to have some thoughts on doing your own medical care and causing the second guessing. I'm sure it does for you too, right?
Yeah, well, I think that we try the best that we can,
Absolutely.
and just some things just don't survive. But I think that we have to rely on ourselves because, you know, like you take it to the vet. Like we took one of our animals to the vet one time, and the bill was going to be like $3,000 or $4,000, which
Yeah.
you know we couldn't afford that, and so we, you know.
No, that was one from the shop, though, right? That wasn't one of
That
ours.
was one of ours.
One of ours?
Yeah, it was that old carpet python that we.
Oh, that was, yeah. They wanted to do the surgery on it, which we elected not to do. They ended up, we still had about a, what, $600 bill?
Yeah.
Because we did the enemas and we did some other things that they did. And I think they gave her some of the drug to try to, I can't think of the name of it, to try to get her to push and all of that. And even if they would have done surgery on that snake, it would have killed her anyway. So, but yeah. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you. I was trying to remember what you're talking about.
But it's just that, you know, you have to rely on that. And I've watched some of JKR videos where he does some of that stuff too. And it's just part of the hobby. Like you're going to probably do a better job than a vet that maybe has done it, you know, once in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, too, I love the fact that we're transparent. I won't change that. I think it was needed. When we came into this hobby and we came into the YouTube portion, I thought it was high time that people quit blowing sunshine and rainbows up everybody's ass, for lack of a better term. That was all I ever saw was, whoa, we did great. You know, whoa, we did great. And then I knew from my first clutch that was horse shit, right? Horse shit. So I wanted to be transparent, and I won't change. But sometimes it's so hard, because man, sometimes when it doesn't go well, you know, you wish you could be like everybody else and just have your babies, not really show your baby, show a few cutting videos here and there, and then stick them online and sell them without having to, you know, rip past the veil and say, hey world, here's everything I fucked up this year. Here's the animals that didn't make it. Here are our numbers. Here, and then you just feel like, you know, you're giving your haters ammunition. But most of my haters couldn't find their ass from a hole in the ground, if I'm really honest, and most of them don't know shit about a snake. Most of them, I mean, they really don't. I mean, it's kind of funny. Most of them are probably 12-year-olds on the internet, or people who, I don't know. I'll leave that one be. I'll be nice. But that part sucks. But I still think it's needed. I think if everybody did that, even myself, let's say everybody did that. Let's say that was the norm. And everybody in the industry, from Brian Barczyk, Nerd, JKR, John Dog, all of them, took and said, hey guys, here's the books. Here's every egg we hatched that we had this year. Not just hatched, every egg we had. Here's how many slugs. Here's how many eggs went bad. You know, here's how many babies didn't make it. Here's everything. Here it is. It's exposed. Then maybe, you know, people would feel better when they entered it and knowing what to expect. Maybe I'd feel better because I feel like I've been a shithole this year, you know. Maybe I haven't. Maybe this is the norm. But I don't know, because nobody else that I know of puts that out there except us, to the extent that we do, you know. And I know everybody has losses. I know they do. I know they do. You know, I know everybody's going to have good years and bad years. It's no different than farming. There's good years and bad years. And I would imagine that if it was all looked at, we probably are setting right where most people are. Maybe a little down this year, maybe a little up a few other years. But if you ran the averages out, we're probably running par for the course. Well, I don't want to be par for the course. You know, you got golf. I'm not a golfer, but par is what you're supposed to do, and guys like Tiger Woods shoot 13 under. So I want to be more like Tiger Woods without the DUI accident and my wife beating me with a golf club port. I can leave that part out. That was bad. Don't do that, Tiger. But you get what I'm saying. So anyway, I guess this video was brought on by doing medical care and then thinking about how that makes me second guess some things that I do and some of my losses and if I fucked it up or I could have done it sooner. And then that just kind of rolled into this emotional dump that I should probably apologize for being a downer on. Anything else you want to add, Kurt, before you go?
Yeah, a fun fact about Tiger Woods.
No, we need a fun fact.
His dad is buried here in Manhattan.
That's true. That is true. Tiger Woods' dad is buried in Manhattan, Kansas. So Tiger Woods does have ties to Manhattan, Kansas. He has been to Manhattan, Kansas. He came for the funeral. I think he was here for like 35 minutes and nobody knew it till after he was gone. But he doesn't play golf here. Don't think he has a house here or anything. But his dad, I'm trying to remember his dad's first name. It's like starts with an E, doesn't it?
I don't know.
It's not Enron, Elron,
I
Eric,
don't know.
Edgar.
I don't know.
I'd ask Google, but Google's not down here. I can't think of it. But anyway, yes, that is a fun fact about Tiger Woods. So on that note of a fun fact about somebody's dead father, which I can relate to, I lost my father when I was a teenager. It really sucked. We'll go ahead and hop off of here. Patreon, man, thank you guys for sticking by me. You guys stick by me when I'm at my best, and I'm an ass, I'm at my best. And you stick by me when I'm at my worst. And when I mentioned earlier that, you know, I kind of have to feel like it's my team versus the world, you guys are my team. And, you know, I kind of like, we're in this together. I think there's 331 of us at this moment. Sad that I know that, but at the time of this filming, that's what there is. And we're 331 individuals that I look at who are going out in an effort to make the ball python hobby and reptile hobby in general more open, more transparent, more enjoyable, more accepting, and more friendly, more fun. You know, that's what we're out to do. I love bringing new people in. I love when people are asking questions and they feel safe to do so. I wish I had time to get to more of them in even a more timely manner. But I love that you guys always have my back on that. Doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect. God forbid. I mean, I'm not. I'm far from it. I am a failure of a human being in a lot of ways, but I think if we're all honest with ourselves, none of us are perfect, and we all are failures of human beings. Like, that's just kind of how it works. But we're also all very, very great in some way or shape or another. So together, I think we can really make an impact. And I'll be honest, I'm already seeing it in the hobby, and I'm seeing changes in the hobby. I'm seeing changes when I go places. And it ain't me, you know, it's not, I don't have that much sway in this hobby at all. But collectively, as 331 people who try to treat people good when we can and try to be welcoming in the hobby when we can and try to help people when we can in the hobby, as 331 people doing that, we do. And it's going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to go out there. And truth be told, it's bigger than 331 people, guys, because that's who's on Patreon. There's been people who've come and left, some probably because they think I'm a dick, others probably because, you know, just financial or whatnot, or for whatever reason, that still go out and still try to make that difference, which makes the hobby a better place. So, piece at a time, we are making a difference together, all of us. That's my good note to end it on, and I will see you all next week, or actually before then. We'll see you later, Patreon.